Hi, my name is Philip Saul. I'm a cabinet maker and a box maker. All my boxes are dovetailed together, so I thought I'd just go through the process I use for doing the dovetailing. It might be of interest to you. The first thing I do is I use one of these tight marking gauges. On the faces, I want to get rid of the guidelines, so I just give it a minimum amount. On the face, I can go in a bit deeper on the underside. Again, this is calling this the front, so I'm just scratching it so I can see it, but it's not deep, and I can go much deeper in the back. Just rolling over, bit of pressure. Okay, right, I've marked out the position of the tails. I use a scalpel quite a lot, so I've actually used a scalpel. I prefer a knife mark rather than a pencil mark. I find it a bit more accurate. Okay, right, now I use a simple guide for cutting the tails. This is so that I know that every cut is square with the face, and also it gives me the 1 in 8 angle, so I'm not having to mark off all the time. Just speeds the process up. Of course, purists will say you should just use a saw, which is fair enough, but I'm trying to do it commercially, so I'm trying to eliminate some of the possible mistakes. You know, it only takes me to be on an angle with one of them, and I have to start again. So this is what I do. Right, all right. I also I just use a mirror at the back so I can see my line. I put the block on the knife mark, gauge the saw against the block, and that's one done. Trying to get the saw right down to the gauge mark. Which is a bit tricky when you only scratch the surface, but turn it around. At the end. Alright. So that's the dovetails, the saw cuts for the dovetails. The next step is to get rid of the waste between the tails. I use a router for this. I've got a 2.5mm router cutter which I use. People use coping saws, all the rest of it, which is fine. This is just, as I say, this is what I do. So now I've got 2 1/4-inch routers, but they're both set up at the moment, so I'm having to use my 1/2-inch router, which is completely the wrong router for doing this because it weighs a ton and it's you need feel for this. But so if I was actually making a box, I wouldn't be using this router, but as it's a demo, Let's see if I can't make a mess of it. Once I've made those router cuts, then I go back with a marking gauge. This is the front, so I can now really go in a lot deeper with my gauge. Just be careful. You just go in between the tails. And that gives a good positive place for your chisel. And then it's just rinse and repeat, as the Americans say. Probably leaving about half a mil on. Just use something to poke out the waste. The ends, I cut most of the waste off on the bandsaw, which I'll quickly do. So, ready for the chiselling stage. Right, okay, so we're on to chiseling down to the lines that we've made. Right, on the ends, I'll flick away the waste just above the line to give me that's where you can see a definite sort of ledge that you can rest your chisel on. I always tend to slightly angle up like that with the first one, and then come in like that. You've got to be careful with this one because you don't want to. Same thing again. This could do with being a bit sharper. Let's go in with a 6. Okay. Now I've got a very thin chisel. I work on a 2mm gap between my tails, and this will just fit in between. And what I'm doing is I just want to go down between and get right into that corner because I want nice crisp corners. Right, so we've got a good ledge to, we don't want to obviously go below that, but because there's only 1/2 mil left, the chisel won't tend to dig down. So I'm paring in, and I'm looking to go as a slight angle down and then come from the other side. So sort of go into about the middle. Goes without saying, you need a sharp chisel. Again, if I can flip that up, that gives me the gauge line. Okay, right, next step is to mark the position of the tails.